how to teach and inspire character development.
Anything but dull, that's what this workshop is all about. This workshop is about teaching teachers fun activities to help with character development in the classroom. For a general elementary school teacher in Western culture, this can be difficult because we have to be careful not to push religious character development on our children. A great way to effectively teach character development is really through example. For the purpose of this workshop, we're going to focus on the second grade level. Children at this age are socially immature, but are beginning to develop their own moral views as well as strong character traits. They're easily influenced and are at a crucial point as far as their morals development goes. Using books has been a proven and effective method for teaching character development, which can lead into activities that expand on character growth. Another effective way to do this is through virtues. Teachers can embody good virtues themselves and exhibit good virtues that the children see. For this workshop, we're going to teach you how to use both. So let's get started. For our workshop, we'll include an introduction, inspirational quotes regarding teaching ethics to children. We'll have a second grade teacher introduction specifically, give an overview of what good ethics are, explain some different worldviews, explain the difference between teaching ethics with religious backgrounds and teaching ethics without any bias, introduce workshop activities and how they're relevant to teaching ethics in the classroom. This will be a great day full of new ideas to take back our classrooms and even throughout our own personal lives. Enjoy, fellow teachers and faculty. Why do ethics matter? Well, when children form values based on careful thought, those values are quite deeply held. Far more meaningful than simply telling children what to think is helping them create their own value system through careful reasoning. Young children may not be faced with complex ethical decisions, but learning basic communication skills such as how to treat others with respect and kindness provides the foundation for moral reasoning later in life. Our objective of this workshop is to better equip our teachers, faculty, and staff to help their students generate their own morals and ethical systems. This week we're specifically focusing on second graders, 7 to 8-year-olds. Some of us may come from a Christian, Buddhist, or even agnostic background. We can't let our beliefs run into our teaching of ethics. This can be difficult at times, but it's best not to insert our own personal opinions. This will benefit our students more in the end by encouraging them to find their own paths. The first activity will be held here in the workshop. A few appointed faculty members will be in charge of handing out 2 to 3 awards for showing good ethical behavior throughout the day. These awards will go to the teacher specifically. The awards will consist of gift certificates, possibly to local restaurants or movie theaters. By doing this, it'll help teachers recognize how good it feels to be rewarded for acting in ethical ways. They will then be able to take that same concept back to their classrooms. They'll take note of specific acts that students do that show ethical, moral, and virtuous deeds. They can daily recognize one student and give them extra responsibility in the classroom, such as being a line leader, yard duty bell holder, or library helper. This will help students realize what good behaviors they want to continue to use, and that will help with their character growth, as well as what ethical decisions are morally acceptable, as well as set the example for other students. Using books has been a proven effective method for teaching character development in the classroom. We have a couple activities that are going to use books. The first one is The Paper Bag Princess. We're going to read this book now, and all the teachers in the workshop would also have a copy of the book to take back to their classrooms. Let's read the book.
Paper Bag Princess, written by Robert Munch. Elizabeth was a beautiful princess. She lived in a castle and had expensive princess clothes. She was going to marry a prince named Ronald. Unfortunately, a dragon smashed her castle, burned all of her clothes with his fiery breath, and carried off Prince Ronald. Elizabeth decided to chase the dragon and get Ronald back. She looked everywhere for something to wear, but a paper bag was the only thing she could find that wasn't burnt. So she put on the paper bag and followed the dragon. He was easy to follow because he left a trail of burnt forests and horses and bones. Finally, Elizabeth came to a cave with a large door that had a huge knocker on it. She took hold of the knocker and banged on the door. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Well, a princess. I love to eat, princess, but I have already eaten a whole castle today. I'm a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." He slammed the door so fast that Elizabeth almost got her nose caught. Elizabeth grabbed the knocker and banged on the door again. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Go away. I love to eat, princess, but I have already eaten a whole castle today. I am a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." "Wait!" shouted Elizabeth. "Is it true that you are the smartest and fiercest dragon in the whole world?" "Yes," said the dragon. "Is it true," said Elizabeth, "that you can burn up 10 forests with your fiery breath?" "Oh, yes," said the dragon. And he took a huge, deep breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up a whole 50 forests. "Fantastic," said Elizabeth. And the dragon took another huge breath and burned out so much fire that he burnt up another 100 forests. "Magnificent," said Elizabeth. The dragon took another huge breath, but this time nothing came out. The dragon didn't even have enough fire left to cook a meatball. Elizabeth said, "Dragon, is it true you can fly around the world in just 10 seconds?" "Why, yes," said the dragon, and jumped up and flew all the way around the world in just 10 seconds. He was very tired when he got back, but Elizabeth shouted, "Fantastic! Do it again!" So the dragon jumped up and flew around the whole world in just 20 seconds. When he got back, he was too tired to talk, and he lay down and went straight to sleep. Elizabeth whispered very softly, "Hey, dragon." The dragon didn't move at all. She lifted up the dragon's ear and put her head right inside. She shouted as loud as she could, "Hey, dragon!" The dragon was so tired he didn't even move. Elizabeth walked right over the dragon and opened the door to the cave. There was Prince Ronald. He looked at her and he said, "Elizabeth, you are a mess. You smell like ashes, your hair is all tangled, and you are wearing a dirty old paper bag. Come back when you are dressed like a real princess." "Ronald," said Elizabeth, "your clothes are really pretty, and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you are a bum. They didn't get married after all."
After reading the book, teachers will then be asked to list personality traits of the characters in the book. They'll then be asked to decide which character they identify the most with based on similar life experiences. They'll then form two groups based on which character they identify with. The first round, they'll find their matches. The second time around, they'll find their opposites. The same activity can then be done in the classroom with students, asking them to do the same things. Recognize the characters and identify with them. The students then can be asked to make a self-portrait with specified character traits that they either currently have or they want to have. This is my son. After reading him the book, I asked him various questions. He wasn't prompted prior to the interview. He simply answered the questions honestly after hearing the story completed. This is my son, Seth Burgess. Seth, thank you for answering these questions for us. After reading the book, The Paper Bag Princess, which character do you think that you are most like? Ronald, Elizabeth, or the dragon?
That's kind of hard to decide because I'm each and every one of them I'm like in their own ways.
Okay.
So I would say I'm like all of them.
You're like all of them. Okay. Let's talk about some of their character traits. Do you know what character traits are?
Yes, I know what character traits are.
And what are character traits?
Character traits are when you read a book, you think about the characters and you think about what kind of things you have in common with them.
Great. And can you list one of the character traits of Elizabeth?
Brave.
Brave. Awesome. Can you give me an example in the book where Elizabeth showed that she was brave?
One is because she knocked on the door of a dragon when she could have gotten eaten.
Great. How about any other character traits of Elizabeth?
I would say not afraid to be herself.
Not afraid to be herself. Awesome. And what is an example from the story that she's not afraid to be herself?
Because she was wearing a paper bag, and the prince told her that she didn't look great, but she didn't care.
Awesome. Can you give me any character traits about Ronald, the prince?
I don't really have too much traits with him.
Do you think he's a nice guy?
No, not very much.
And is there an example from the story that tells us he's not a nice guy?
Yes.
What's the example?
The example is that he was telling the princess that she didn't look good when he should have kept it to himself.
Right. And what was the princess doing for Ronald when he told her she didn't look good?
She was complimenting him on how he looked.
Did she compliment him?
A couple times, and then she didn't compliment him. She said that she dressed nice. He had nice hair. He looks like a princess, but it looks like a princess. He looks like a prince, but he is not one because he is rude to other people.
Excellent, Seth. The story did not actually say that he was not really a prince because he was rude to people. The story actually said, you're a bum. But very good insight of you and very good character judgment to figure that out, because Ronald was being so rude. He had very poor character. And Elizabeth had really good character traits, didn't she? Seth was then asked to draw a self-portrait. This is the portrait he drew. He chose to draw a dragon. He said not necessarily like the one in the story, but because he feels like he's strong and he can do lots of things like the dragon could do. He also chose to draw a golden warm sun because he said that the sun was friendly, like he is. He also drew a cool blue sky because he thinks that he's cool, and nice green grass because that's his favorite color. The third activity we could do would be to pay it forward. Pay It Forward is a program that emphasizes the act of doing a good deed and not expecting something in return. How to pay it forward. In our workshop, teachers will choose specific cases of people who are in need that they will then introduce to their classrooms the next day. Examples include helping in a soup kitchen, at a local animal shelter, or bringing in items for donations to local shelters. A book that we could use is Have You Filled a Bucket Today by Carol McLeod. This book teaches students how to find fulfillment in their own lives by helping others with random acts of kindness. This allows for both the students and the teachers to feel much more involved in helping their community. It is our privilege as teachers to have a heavy influence on our students, the youth of our society. Ethics should be consistently taught in all school systems, public and private. We should take this responsibility very seriously and try to leave the biggest impact on our students. The difference between doing right and wrong. We thank you for taking time in this workshop. Remember, teaching ethics doesn't have to be dull. Make it exciting, make it memorable. Students will take it with them as life tools.